So now it's time to go head-to-head for the Giants game against the Houston Texans. And first up on the matchup, who do we have, Shaun?
All right, bam.
Tate Crowder and Rex Burkhead, the third down specialist for the Texans. Now, he's caught 25 passes this year, second most on the team. That is 5 shy of his season career high. This guy's been in the league almost a decade. You'll remember him with the New England Patriots. He is very, very crafty, and the Giants know all about him.
You know, it's always a challenge when you're going against a good back. You know, you just got to trust your technique and just go to practice and work it in practice. And when the game comes around, you'll be good.
Does it require extra film study for a guy who can be so crafty?
You know, you always want to watch film on your opponent and, you know, just see what they like to do, see how he runs his routes and stuff like that. So just focus on that. And like I said, just go to practice and focus on it and just trust your process.
Yeah, Tate Crowder knows that on third down, he's going to have his eyes all over Rex Burkhead. You mentioned the fact that he's the second leading receiver on the team, just 23 carries on the entire season. So he's not a very big part of their first and second down run game. But I think for Tate Crowder, one of the things that you're going to see early on is they're going to try to get Rex in space, obviously screen plays, all that, but he runs a lot of these, we call them fun routes, where he kind of fakes like he's going outside and then he cuts back, puts his foot in the ground and cuts back into the middle of the field. That's a play that he likes to set up, and he's had a lot of big plays in that throughout his career. So no doubt that's something to challenge. I think for Tate Crowder, the other aspect of it is bring him on a blitz. And if I'm Tate Crowder and I'm saying, look, if I could talk to Wink Martindale, hey, let me blitz a little bit, that will keep him in and force him in to protect sometimes too. So there's going to be a little cat and mouse game going on with that with Tay and Rex.
Now, Crowder had 2 interceptions last year for the Giants. The whole Giants team only has 1 pick so far this season, Shaun. Is that scheme-related, or are they just not making enough of plays to take the ball away?
Well, I think interceptions, you know, they can kind of become contagious. And sometimes you get one and then they just start to multiply. But the Giants have done such a good job of forcing fumbles that, you know, that's kind of made up for some of the interceptions. You mentioned that we're the only team in the NFL right now with just 1 interception. I think there's been a lot of drops as well. So that's one of the other factors in it. Like, there's been opportunities and sometimes they just haven't come down with it. So they're there. You got to make the most of them.
Burkhead has had 5 catches in a game 3 different times this year. Okay, who do we have next? But Darius Slayton going against veteran cornerback Steve Nelson. Now, Nelson's been in the league 8 years. Last year, he was with Philadelphia in the NFC East, so the Giants do know all about him. He's only given up 1 touchdown pass so far in 35 targets. Slayton knows that this DB knows what he's doing.
I think it always helps in that familiarity. Obviously, like you say, he's been in this league a long time, been a good player for a long time. So definitely that familiarity helps. You know, you kind of have an idea of his style, kind of how he likes to play. But obviously, you got to be ready for, you know, Stingley. He's a good young player, and all the rest of their guys.
Over the last month before the break, you were getting more snaps, more production. Things were on a roll for you. Did the break come at a rough time? Can that stall your momentum, or can you use the break to your advantage and kind of start fresh for the second half of the season?
I think the break always helps, you know, just a time to sit back, reflect on what you've done, and also get your mind right going forward. So I don't see it as any type of hiccup or anything, more of a springboard.
It's been great to see Darius Slayton get back to the progress that he had made his rookie year. Ever since that Green Bay Packers game, Paul, I feel like Slayton and DJ have really been hitting on all cylinders. And for Slayton, in this matchup right here against the Houston Texans, when you look at Darius Slayton's numbers from the season, look, they're not numbers that are going to wow you. But the thing that jumps out at you is 14.5 yards per catch. So he's been an explosive playmaker for the Giants, and I think that's one of the areas that the Giants can actually take advantage of this Houston Texans defense. And a guy like Steve Nelson, his aggressiveness. The Houston Texans defense is giving up the most big plays in the entire league right now. So this is something that I think Slayton can try to attack as well as Daniel Jones. With Mike Kafka coming off of the bye week, I think there's going to be some new wrinkles into this offense, and Slayton could end up being the benefactor.
Now, regardless of how the Giants' wide receiver situation shakes out over the rest of the year, Slayton has seen his playing time increase over the last month to the point where he had 74% of the snaps, his season high against Seattle. How critical does he really have to be to emerge as their number 1 guy in the second half of the season?
Well, I think it's paramount to have somebody that's going to have that deep threat, and he's got that speed, and he has that history with Daniel Jones of that deep threat. And look, he's had a couple of opportunities this season too, and he had a couple of tough drops. So I think he's overcome that. His confidence is sky high right now. But you absolutely need somebody like that to kind of help open up that box a little bit. If defenses know you're not even trying to take deep shots and you don't have a guy that can get behind their coverage, then all of a sudden they load the box. Now it makes it a lot harder for guys like Saquon. So, for Darius, it's not just about, the production. It's about the impact that he has on the coverage and the defense as a whole.
Well, we'll see how he deals with that smart veteran, Steve Nelson, who has an interception or at least one in each of the last 5 NFL seasons. That'll do it for Head to Head.